Hey everyone, Eric Thompson here. Hope that you are doing well on this Twilight edition, okay, of the AFI Top 100 review this evening. As we are in the dark a little bit, not about this film, but we're just in the dark. Miss Tori is here too, but you cannot see her because it is dark. But she will say something to prove her presence.
Hello.
There you are. She's really here. Now, this evening, considering this, I have to have a little light so I can see. 1973's American Graffiti. Yes, indeed. Tori, what is this movie about?
I have no idea. I didn't watch it.
Well, what to say? What to say? Number 61 on the AFI Top 100. Miss Tori did not watch it, but she has watched others. Now, in general, coming-of-age story, okay? It's the evening before the lead characters kind of disperse, and they're going to have one last night of glory and revelry in their hometown of Modesto, California. Steve and Carl, Toad, Jim, and so forth. And centered around their gaiety is a pastime, certainly for Californians in the 60s, known as cruising. Miss Tori, what is cruising?
You tell me.
I will. Cruising is where you drive around slowly and talk to your friends in other cars, maybe picking up girls. Now, these days, we would call that some sort of prostitution, but I guess in the 60s in California, it was okay because they did it in this movie. And so the whole film takes place in one evening, from maybe about sundown to just a little past sunrise the next day. And we learn about all of these characters, a bit about where they came from, mostly concerned with where they're going. I believe this film is in the AFI Top 100 not only because it is in its own way a biopic. It considers a very unique part of Californian culture in the 1960s, late 50s, early 60s, cruising, okay? This, of course, was part of George Lucas's own experience as a young man. He made this film not long after having been a cruiser himself, okay? And so there we were, considering this very real but unique element of American society. Is this something that people thought of when they thought of Americans? I don't know. Probably not. But this did happen. And at least for George Lucas, as a storyteller, he wanted to reflect that in this film. Also, of course, him being a young man at the time and working with other young men on the project, specifically Francis Ford Coppola, who helped to produce the film, he himself being quite young at the time, and another very young actor who would go on to be very important to George Lucas's career. Harrison Ford was in this film, of course, his very first film role before he became the legendary Han Solo. And so we have all those elements coming together. Coming of age, American culture, very important. And it's sort of a microcosm film. Many of the films on the AFI Top 100 are grand, epics. You know, it began with number 100, Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ, one of the greatest and grandest epics of all. Wow. But now, of course, we're shrinking our view down significantly, okay, to one city in one state with a specific group of people for one night. Also worthwhile, Wolfman Jack. You know what I'm talking about. Now, Miss Tori, why, if it is, why is this film relevant for today? Say it.
Cricket. Cricket.
You don't even need sound effects. You have the real thing. Indeed, Miss Tori is better with books. Fair enough.
I didn't watch this movie. It's not fair for you to ask me questions about it.
I have thoroughly explained it, I feel. No, fair enough. Indeed, how is it relevant? Obviously, there are no more movies about cruising. One thing is for sure, maybe most important of all, George Lucas, okay? He has not done terribly well in recent years, especially just recently when he sold LucasArts and the complete Star Wars universe to Disney. Now, this is a bad decision, but fans were somewhat concerned, to say the least. For my video game nerds, Michael, of course, where is Battlefront 3? Why doesn't George Lucas just answer my letters about this? I don't know. But this was where he got his roots, okay? This was where he gained his confidence as a filmmaker. I think the film cost maybe $750,000 to make, and gosh darn it, it did very well. 40 million, or well, you'll see there on the screen. You can see how much money it made off such a little budget. So people immediately paid attention to George Lucas, and even maybe as part of this project, he invested a considerable amount of the money he made from this film, and he put it away for what he hoped to be a project in the future, a space opera, which was not yet quite formed. And so some of the profit from this film went into the production and the development for Star Wars. And we'll just wait for the helicopter to pass over. That's fine. We'll drink a coffee. Good story. What is the first thing you think about when you hear a helicopter overhead?
MASH.
Why is that?
I've never really seen MASH, but just that opening sequence.
Can you sing the theme song?
Probably not.
Fair enough. I think of growing up in Oregon, living on the coast, and there's a Coast Guard base right there, and so often helicopters were out and about, especially rescuing people from the dunes. Now, what is our reflection here? Because there are many points to it. Obviously, coming of age, very important in the Gospels as well, development of self. And that's sort of where I want to head with this film. If you've seen it, you know at the very end of the film, one of the characters leaves on a plane. He just gets in, flies off to destinations unknown. Of course, he knows where he's going. And it was a striking moment for me. We'd spent almost the entire movie riding around in these old cars, and suddenly a plane. I don't know why it struck me, but it did. The idea that the whole night, kind of representing life in its own way, the whole evening, the whole of their existence, cars, slow moving. At least there was one race, of course, toward the end of the film going fast, but even then, still back in Modesto, still back home. And then, wow, the decision to move forward with one's life, to go to college, such as this character decides, and they get on the plane, and they're gone. And I thought about what Jesus said, not about planes and college, but about following him. And of course, in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, specifically, Jesus says, if you want to follow after me, you have to deny yourself. Take up your cross and come after me. That's the mark of a disciple. One who denies himself or herself, picks up the cross, picks up the burden of Christ, picks up the law of God, righteousness, and follows after Jesus. And there's also a lot of talk about leaving things behind. Jesus says, you come after me. Not after anything else. Not after your family. Not even after your spouse or your children or your dog's slippers or after the PS4. None of those things, okay? Come after me alone. Leave behind the existence that you knew, that you loved, and come after me. And somehow this image of the airplane brought that to life. Choosing to leave behind the monotony and the slow movingness of life beforehand, choosing to follow after Jesus and finding an entirely new life. Jet plane life. That's curiously said, but I think you understand. Miss Roy, do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least you do. Thank you. Your thoughts?
I just said him when I was listening, really. The baby was kicking the Kindle.
How dare it? Well, the baby will not get a Kindle then for his birthday. That's fine. But let that be our meditation this evening. That the life we live is fun and exciting, really fantastic. Such as their existence was. Cruising and saw cops and... what is happening tonight? What is going on? What is this the end of days? No, happening maybe. Um, but then suddenly, you know, the choice to pursue the future, to really go for it, uh, simply said, resulted in a whole new way of life. A jet plane compared to a car. And that's precisely how life will be for us if we truly choose to deny ourselves, to pick up the cross and to go after Jesus Christ, to follow after him. It really will be like having lived at a cruising pace, 5 miles an hour down the main drag, and then suddenly now soaring high above with Christ, okay, as part of the Christian life. Tori's starting to yawn, so that definitely means I got to stop. But we really do thank you for watching. Tori especially, of course, she appreciates it. Baby appreciates it. Clicking like and subscribe if you care to makes the baby smile in the uterus. And so I appreciate that. And so does, is that true? The baby smile in the uterus?
Well, I guess they could, but I'm pretty sure it would be a reflex, right? Because the first 2 weeks or whatever, the smiling is just a reflex. So I assume if baby was smiling in there, it wouldn't be as a reaction to still like and subscribe. Sorry about that.
Well, never mind that like and subscribe. No one does anyway. But I appreciate those who do. Thank you for watching, okay? We're coming back very soon. I gotta turn on the light, Victoria. Don't worry about it. We're coming back very soon with number 61, Sullivan's Travels. Now, did you see this, Miss Tori?
I think I watched part of this with you. I didn't finish it, but the beginning.
Yes, you did. You saw it. So maybe we'll talk about it then. So this is number 62, excuse me. Number 61, Sullivan's Travels, coming up soon. Say it again for the sake of it, baby. Like and subscribe if you care to. And thank you truly for watching. Truly, friends. Really, truly hope that you are, you could say, Story.
Doing well.
Peace out. Bye. Peace out. Why would I say that? So you try new things.